please okay, got it. Please pay attention to the time. So the speech time is 7 minutes and you have an extra 15 seconds to finish up your speech. Please mind your time to make sure that you're not going overboard. I think that's all for the reminders. Good luck to everyone. And since it's recorded, we can start right away. For the positions everyone has given them, thank you. And without further ado, let's welcome Prime Minister to start the debate. Here.
Hey, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, okay. I will start my speech. Oh, sorry. My POI preference is through chat because I will open the chat box. And my gender pronouns is she or her, and that's it. Okay, so I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, all this time, porn industry always revolved around men, meaning that porn were mostly made by men and for men. Like usually for the porns that we know nowadays, they were made to maximize men's pleasure. So mostly those videos clearly featuring women in submissive roles as always. That is what we want to change. As liberal feminist movement, we believe that it will be much more progressive to change the role as that as the man will be put in a much more submissive role and women in more dominant roles, opposing the status quo that already happened nowadays, as it will give a much higher ground or new perspective that women can also be in a dominant position and not always the submissive one. And we also believe that aside from the problem that women usually seen as submissive roles in most of the porn that made for men, we also believe that women community also have the right to watch porn that's centered around them, that can give them maximized pleasure, like what men usually have nowadays. Okay, so first of all, I'm sorry, but maybe I should have put a trigger warning before all of this, because maybe I will talk something that a bit sensitive and so on and so forth. So I will put just a trigger warning for now. Okay, so we believe that by heavily invest, we meant that we will give funding toward this porn production where the videos are woman-centric. So what will we meant by woman-centric? It will either mean like the man will be put in a much more submissive roles rather than the woman, because of the things that I've said before, or or a video where it will centered around things that will pleasuring women and etc. So the thing is, even when we would heavily invest this production, it doesn't mean that we will let like underage kids to watch them. So if the opposition side of the house want to argue that, oh, if the feminist movement want to heavily invest in this, it means that the porn production would be seen by many people. But the thing is, we still want to let like underage kids to watch them, because age restriction will still be applied like any porn nowadays, because we also know that porn is like 18 plus and over. So what do you okay, so I have one of my point in my arguments. It is first the principle level of justification. I have two layers on why as liberal feminist movement, we are justified to make this kind of porn videos. Okay, so first, we believe that women can also watch porn. First of all, we can judge or discriminate women who watch porn, as men also used to watch them. The problem with our world is that people usually think badly of women who watch porn. But the thing is, what is so wrong with that? If men can watch porn and talk about them, so why not women? So why not women? So why can women do that also? Because yeah, the problem would be more like maybe because women are seen as some beautiful creature, you know, who's lembut or innocent. But the thing is, if men can do that, so why can women do that also? Because we believe that women also need a source to pleasure themselves. the same with men. Okay, before I go into the second layer of my argument, okay, CO, you can speak up about your POI.
Okay, thank you. So porn is an industry, it's a business. It means that if there is already a demand, then there's gonna be supply for it, i.e. female porn. So why do we need to give our money or give our money as this as females, and we will probably like detract from other means or other things that is more important right now.
Okay. The thing is, we believe that it will also be explained in my second layer. But we, as what I've said before, we believe that by heavily invest this, we will because we are the liberal side of the feminist movement. It's our job to educate people that there are things that is still like taboo in our world right now, like women watch porn. We believe that it's our job as the liberal side of the movement to show people that this taboo thing, this kind of thing should be normalized, because men do it anyway, and women can also do it. So the second layer on why this is justified for us to do it, it is because it aligns with our interests as the liberal part of feminist movement. Because the goal of feminist movement itself is to bring gender equality. And like what I've said before, as the liberal side of the movement, we have the job to be more like to be more to speak up more about some things that still like taboo because of the traditional way that because of the society that still can get use of this new perspective of woman of a woman that can watch porn and can get pleasure from them, and also can be in a dominant position even within porn. So we believe that it is aligned with our interests, so that we can show people that women is not always in the submissive role. Women is not always become the one who got the one who only take in. Woman can also be in a dominant position. Woman can also have opinion. Woman can also have preference to things that may be taboo in our world right now. But that's our goal as OG itself, because we want people to normalize this, that women can also watch porn, and they need many porn videos that centric around women's pleasure. And so as OG, we proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for that speech. To open the case of opposition bench, I invite Leader of Opposition here.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so my POI preference is to chat, and then I'm going to start my debate in 3, 2, 1. Well, liberal feminist is talking about both. That means both women and men has the same places, as the same rights, and to have some both pleasuring too. And then when you're talking about the woman-centric part, it doesn't apply on our liberal beliefs. How? Because we doesn't need to have that to menaikkan tahta woman as an actor or someone who's seen the porn itself. Why we can say this? Because first we are thinking we are definite porn is something that the industrial made could be for industrial movie that made for women and men. And then that's why we at least have 2 reasons. The first reason is because the usual porn has a customer category. It has a lot of categories. And number 2, it based on the data shouldn't be applied anywhere. Why I can say this? Okay, back to my first argument. A, open the Pornhub, etc. Okay, I'm sorry about my words. Okay, open the Pornhub, etc. You've seen a lot of category from the sub, dom, BDSM, orgy, etc. Yes, it is including the entertainment. So because you are talking about the entertainment, they are collecting as much as possible fantasies that around the world, because as we know, we are talking about this activity. It has more than you can imagine, especially if you're talking about the public. So if you're talking about the entertainment and then about this movie industry, there is a lot of category, like 100 plus category and more category. It is about the man-centric, the woman-centric. It could be a lot of things. And why we thought that's enough? Because it's because when you are talking about the porn things, it is not something like, oh, the woman-centric isn't exist. No, it is exist, but it's not about it. It is not about all about a man. It's all not about the man. Why we think it's also not going to apply? Because as you know, woman as a normal human who enjoying watching porn as their own category preference. Not all women loves being a woman centric. I mean, no matter no matter the love submissive of the other loves dominant under the man, but somehow if you're and some women somehow still looking if it is hard to have men taking a control, and then it doesn't wrong about that, because if you're thinking more deeply about porn itself, it's actually not about the dignity or about the pleasuring you after you have that thing, but it's also talking about the time you spend together, or maybe it's about just only to fulfill your expectation. And then as we know, not all women actually love being in the woman centric, because as I said, they have a lot of preference. Even when you are talking about the porn, not just talking about the porn, if you're talking about the LGBT, the sex orientation, there is a lot of layers, right? So same as the porn itself, it isn't only about one porn. No, it is a lot of things, and even in those categories, it's also including some woman centric. In my point means, not all porn is around men. It's not about men, okay? Number two, I'm going to talking about the facts. Well, the facts about to make the actor feels really woman, because it's all about them. I think it's not fair, because in the movie it's already scripted, and on the other side, if you're talking about the porn, it is not about it's actually about woman. If you're talking about porn, it's already about woman. Why? Because when you're opening the porn, you only see the woman pictures everywhere. Do you actually know some male porn star that actually famous? No. Well, I'm saying this doesn't mean I'm menurunkan harga diri wanita. No, but we can see it as actually woman is really glorifying in that the porn community things. That means they are really looking over woman, and then isn't it too much woman for you? So why you want to make about the community itself about the woman centric porn? I think that's too much. Isn't it already glorifying? And then now I'm going to jump at my second argument, the data. Well, it shouldn't apply everywhere. Well, if you are saying so that the porn is made by man for man, then why we need a woman centric? Okay, I'm following your game. Look at the industry. The worst case, yes, it made by men. But why I don't think it is not should be applied, because somehow if you're looking at the data, men has some higher energy, some higher libido, and the things is already proven in biology. The goat made us like this as a man. And then if you are a movie producer itself, will you actually make a content that no one interested to buy? Then how you can gain your money to make your company still alive? Okay, I actually okay then if you want to make a porn about centric woman, but I'm really not okay if you want to apply this on every side. And besides that, if you are talking about liberal, it's talking about the man and the woman, and as the opposition, we are at the same in the side. Those categorizing those movie already fulfilling each it's sex it's female and male needed. So if you want to make this woman-centric porn, yes, it is okay, but you need to make your own site. So because the biggest site is like Pornhub, it are already categorizing that thing. So why you need to make a woman-centric things? Isn't it to be like a matriarchy things rather than a liberalism? So that's why we are opposed to make a woman-centric porn. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition, for that speech. To continue with the case of OG, I invite the Prime Minister to start their speech. Here.
Let me arrange my paper first. And start my timer. Wait. Okay. I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, that portray the world where the woman didn't have any interest to to their own sexual demand, and also try to portray something from the business perspective. And here I will tell to you about the first, how the world right now in our status quo, and second, I will rebut some things from the opposition, and last I will talk about our team argument. Okay, first, that I want to tell you that today in this world, that we need to acknowledge that both women and men have their own sexual interests. So that men have their kind of different of sexual interests, and women also have their own interests. And here, right now in our world, the business only portray men's interests in making those videos, and didn't really acknowledge women's interest on that. And before going to my argument and going to my further argument, I will talk some rebuttal for the opposition. First, that they say that woman is in this kind of industry, woman pictures are already everywhere, but the glorifying of a woman is only for men. That woman can only be seen as the woman is often seen as the sexual object for those men, and because it's not for women interest, but it's rather for men. And second, they also say that no one interest to the interest of people to buy this kind of demand. That I already said in my criteria, my context, that women also have their own demand, and they also have a different preference. And third, that they said in every sites, but we only make this kind of sexual porn is for women, so we need to make it according to woman preference, right? Okay, let's go to my first things. That before they also asked about the urgency of this kind of implementation. That my partner already said that it is our job to make sure that women and men is equal, but we can say it's not just in porn, right? But in principally, that women should be able to get the same thing, get the same pleasure as men. That's the basic of our movement, and that's in line with our interests. And second, that in our style, and second, that women also will, what will happen if this is implemented? What if only happen if porn is only with men in line with men's interest? That first, women will get used to see the porn which are made by men. That women also watch porn, right? Because they also have their own sexual interest, their own sexual pleasure. They also search for their own sexual pleasure, and the porn for men place women in submissive position. We can see that most of the porn for men is made such as not all of them, but many that torture women, that make women really seek for pleasure, then they cannot forget this man, and also didn't really respect what women want, didn't really respect what women actually care about, what how it is feel for the woman. And here in our sites, we need to portray more about what actually women seek and what actually women wants for the pleasure. And our will talk also about the problem in our status quo, that ideally both women and men can speak the same thing, that we are able to freely speak up our mind, and also our sexual preference. And right now in our world, that only men can talk freely about porn, that women talk about porn is something not really normal. And what you see when men and women actually talk about porn, when men actually talk about porn, that you can say, oh, it's usual for them to talk about porn. But when a group of women actually talk about porn, society will see them as, why they talk about that? Woman is not supposed to talk about that. That's what happened in our current society. Therefore, we need to make sure that this kind of society, this kind of woman is actually can be able to work freely in our side of the house. And second, why actually porn right now is really will why. And second, I want to talk why the porn right now is only care about men's interest, because most of the watcher are men. We only care about men's demand because they are the only one who watch. But it's not right, because right now women and men also have interest in this, and women is actually want to try to speak up, but they cannot because the perspective on the society. But and also if they actually watch this kind of film, they unconsciously think about themselves as for are made for the men's interest. So because they're almost all porn, that's what they see. There will be doctrinized that woman is only the plaything for men, and also only care about men's perspective about the sexual, and they didn't see they didn't have preference inspiration about what actually the woman see in this kind of situation. That therefore the women and men today have not so difference in demand in sexual pleasure. Therefore, the company or the other actors, other business should have to make this in order for the demand, in order for them for the and invest for that, because that also will lead to their own gain. Therefore, we also need the production of videos according to women. Therefore, according to with all my reasons, we need to make a video according to women's best interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister, for that speech. Just a reminder for everyone to please accept a POI because that may determine the outcome. And without further ado, I invite Deputy Leader of Opposition to continue the case of Opposition Bench. Here.
Hello, am I audible?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So first of all, we believe that this motion emerged because we are worried that women doesn't have the equality to watch porn like what guys, because it emerged some kind of prejudice and something like that. But I think actually if you want to point out like the porn industry to actually make a woman-centric porns, it's actually going to be a bit contradictory. Like for example, there are a lot of country they will watch porn, and it will not be just like the uh, negara maju like America or Europe or something like that. There will be like Indonesian and then Asian and something like that. And at the moment, maybe that like the company want to make this woman-centric porns, it will cause a lot of contradictory, like maybe for a lot of people, and not just the men, maybe the women that is I don't know, like religious and something like that, hearing the news like this would be like um, furious, because they might think that actually we uh, agree for women to like being again and again the object of the sexuality, and then and more of that, you say that actually with this woman-centric, woman could be like more dominant and something like that. But this is not all of people accepting this kind of things. At least there are a lot of people that thinks that actually women shouldn't be being the top and something like that. And then this kind of contradictory and confusion from maybe countries or maybe people with religion, something like that, it could cause a lot of problems, right? And then I believe that if we want to I believe if we want to more open up about actually what we have to do, if we want people to more open up, I think we should start it with like movies or advertisement and something like that. So the first thing is why I say it's like that, because we always assume that guys are the one who always watch porn. There's a lot of men who always watch porn, and only men, and there's nothing like women and something like that. Because I think we have to move first from the movie, like maybe making the character like yeah, she watched porn and something like that, or maybe like advertisement, because in advertisement it always show that's the man that's always like, oh, being attracted to women. But actually there's like not all of the advertisements like women attract to men and something like that. So what I'm trying to say here, rather than want to want to have like the woman-centric porn as the pornographic, we better take a step by step, like by showing it like in advertisement or movie. So actually it's showing people like, oh, there's not just men who watch porn and something like that, but actually women. And then I think this kind of step could bring a lot of introduction to people. So not just like clash it to people and slap it like that, but actually like step by step. So people will slowly being adapted that actually women has their own women actually has their own desire and something like that. But I think being having the woman-centric porn right now, it's gonna be contradictory and there will be a lot of clash. So that's why I brought to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Leader of Opposition. Now to open the closing half of the debate, I invite Member of Government. You're here.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me set my timer first. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My gender preference is he or him, and if you like to give a POI, please just open up your mic because I won't see the chat box. Now I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, before I continue my argumentation, I would like to start by giving first some definition because it is kind of correlated to my further argument. The first one is the definition of feminist itself. Now, feminist is a people who advocates their belief in the political, economic, and social equality of all sexes that is especially to organized activity. Now, in this context, I want to highlight the social equality part because it is kind of correlated with the motion itself. Now, after this definition of liberal feminist itself, feminists that use liberal democracy as their frameworks in other words, it is more free compared to the conservative feminist woman, and those frameworks is going to be used in my further argument later. Now, The next definition that I would like to give is that the definition of porn itself, since I want to minimize what kind of porns are we talking about. So porn is a media that portray two people or more having a sexual intercourse. And in this context, I only wanted to use like the porn that is being produced in the production house, not the porn that is made by an amateur person using their phones and having sex in like, I don't know, maybe their room as another thing like that. Now, porn itself can also means using like use your media, and that is like the video one, which mean can be real life or animation, in this context hentai, and also like the porn in comic itself. Now also I want to like categorize what is called category in porn itself in this motion. I only wanted to use the straight porn category, since I think if we use gays and lesbian, I'm sorry if it's kind of like hurting for someone, but if we use gays and lesbian, and it would be like out of context in this motion as well. Now, after this, I would like to elaborate what is the subject of interest in the motion. Now, the subject of interest is that porn in usually portray women only as an object for sex, so usually hard for sex, that that makes women seem as a submissive gender, and usually those acts degrading them at the same times. Now, the definition of woman in best interest itself is that we wanted to consider women interest in the making of the porn itself and doesn't harm them. Now, after this, I want to explain the status quo that that is happening in the real life. Now, first, there are a lot of porn that portray women as a submissive gender and usually degrading them at the same time. Second, degrading means here that those porn portrayed women as only an object for sex and nothing more than, and even hurting them in the making process. And even that statement is also strengthened by an admittance of a lot of women porn star in it, such as, I don't know, maybe like Mia Khalifa, etc., etc. Now, the third status quo that I want to explain is that in porn itself, usually only the man that is highlighted of having satisfaction to climaxing, and women rarely shown of having satisfaction, because there are a little amount of porn video that shows women having a satisfaction in the process itself. Now, the fourth status quo that I want to explain is that because of that, a lot of men in the society believe that women must be submissive as well when they are having sex in the real life. And the fact is that, and this fact is like more stringent and conservative and also patriarchal society, which those are the things that the liberal feminist movement wants to break. Those liberal feminist movement wants really to break the patriarchal society, because in this context, feminist itself wants of the gender, whether it is man or woman, in this at the same height, right? And those things cannot be achieved in the patriarchal society. And one of the stereotypes that have been what is called widening in the patriarchal society itself is that a woman in bed must be submissive, and that happened because a lot of people watch porn, and a lot of people put a lot of porn portrays women as a submissive gender when they are acting on those porn videos. Now, after this, I want to explain why the liberal feminist movement would invest more in women-centric porn, the benefit for them and also for the society itself. The first one is that, as I already explained in my previous argument, it is aligned according to the agenda, and that woman wanted to have the same status as men, wanted to have like the same social status as men, even in porn, and break the patriarchal stereotype. And now the second benefit for the liberal feminist movement to invest more in a woman-centric porn is that it is to break the society stereotype that women must be submissive in bed, and tell the society that women can also be aggressive in bed, because usually in the society, we see the women who are aggressive in bed, or women who are aggressive in bed as what is called a sinful person. But there are a lot of women who are those kind of like that. I mean, like aggressive in bed, right? And it is benefit for them, like if the liberal feminist movement invest more in a woman-centric porn, because if like there are a lot of woman-centric porn that is being produced, whether it is like real life video and or maybe like comic, then the society that or even like watch those kind of porn can change their mindset that woman doesn't need to be submissive of all time. Women have the right to be satisfied, and also women can be aggressive in bed, and it is beneficial for in the housing context if like they are married, because those what is it called, the wife can satisfy the husband more, because the stereotype the stereotype are breaking slowly, and the wife can like satisfy the husband more by being aggressive and taking part in the sex action as well. Now, in what way they would invest is that the liberal feminist movement would invest in the production house that produce porn by supporting the production house on making woman-centric porn, whether it is campaigning them on woman-centric porn, explaining like the status quo to the society, and even do a fundraising so that those production house can produce more woman-centric porn. And if the opening brands tell that those kind of porn won't be sell much to the market, then it is wrong, because there are a lot of porn like that who sells much in the market. So that is the reason why we as this house probably propose this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Member of Government, for that speech. To open the case of closing opposition, I invite Member of Opposition. You're here.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yep.
Okay, let me set up my timer and also certain things. Before I want to start, I prefer via chat to do POI, and also I don't have any gender pronouns preference. So yeah, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, CG talks about a lot of things, but the point is how it will be an equal thing to women if we invest more on woman-centric porn, and talk that it is more beneficial if we do that. And I will elaborate my arguments to solve all of the government side's concerns. Now, we should think clearly now. Why is this important? Basically, we know that feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. The second point was the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. The third one was the belief that men and women should have an equal rights and opportunities. Now, what do we learn in this case? Feminism is based on fighting for equality amongst men and women. We fight when we feel like we are below or receive negative impact from people only because if that someone is a woman. Now, I have 3 stances. The first one, that porn is already a money-making industry. The second was why we don't have to be heavily invest on woman-centric porn. And then the third one was porn actually increase the beauty standards among women. Now, going to the first stance, we already know that porn is already a money-making industry, right? So we don't have to invest more. The fact that women are the most viewed on porn sites make us certain that as a liberal feminist, we don't have to fight to get more than equality. As a fact, $35.17 billion in 2019 and is expected to grow at a CAGR of 15.12% over the forecast period. That means women already have that much power in the first place. So investing more only comes to more money, but not close to accomplish our main goal. It's equality, which are far more important for us to focus on that particular idea rather than bringing more money to the bag. Also, one more thing to think about. Nowadays, the LGBTQ+ are evolving and stating that gays are also watch this kind of thing. That means that invest more on woman-centric porn will only get us a few more money, and it isn't useful at all. Before, OG said about equality amongst the porn star as women, that we have to be more, and we have to get more investors to invest. That's false. Based on the statistics and arguments that I elaborated before, this actually the fact to solve OG's concern. Now going to the second point, the fact that if we don't heavily invest on woman-centric porn, it will be more beneficial for us to get more supporters for our as a liberal feminist. Because by research, in total, 23% of Americans told researchers that they had viewed pornography in the last year. Both male and female pornography viewers had better attitudes towards women working outside the home and were more supportive of abortion rights in comparison with those who had not watched pornography. In addition, male pornography viewers had more positive attitudes about women holding positions on political power in comparison with male non-viewers. In this case, we totally won a long term, as in we need to get more support from more people around the world by the fact that from the statistic above, we equally invest both on women and men. It will be more beneficial for us to achieve our main goal, which is to get supports from people so we could achieve the equality amongst men and women faster. The third point, or the last point that I want to elaborate, is the porn actually increased beauty standards among women. Because obviously, people that watch porn are basically got turned on or maybe more likable if the porn star is in their best form, or in this case, a perfect body. Why did I bring this thing up at first? Invest more means that woman-centric porn will evolve. Signs of some kind of industry, for in this case, the porn industry evolving, are more people to work with. In woman-centric porn, that means that they have to or will try to find more women to get into porn industry as a job. Let's take an example, like Mia Khalifa, like CG examples for it. Almost everybody know about this woman, even if they don't want to watch porn that much. Many people portrays by being a porn star as a woman is actually great without any circumstances that they have to pass. Miss Mia Khalifa here debunked the myth that porn is a means for a woman's sexual liberation, a path for her financial independence, or a way to restore her self-confidence. She says that companies taking advantage of women's horrible social and psychological circumstances to make them sign unfair contracts. When she herself had signed such a contract, she was driven by an aching need to attract male attention, of which she had been deprived through high schools and college because of her struggle with overnight. And this answers what CG is being concerned on. By this meaning that we, as CEO, have more things to elaborate, have more fact to give, and also give the evidence that actually the government bench isn't winning on this one. So I'm very proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, member of opposition, for that speech. To close the government half of the debate, I invite government whip. Here.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, hello everyone. My gym pronounce is he or him, and you guys want to start any kind of POI, just kindly unmute your microphone because I want to see the chat box. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So, ladies and gentlemen, back again to the fundamental that closing government already bring from my first speaker, that this feminist movement is basically want to shift this kind of gender equality in any kind of aspects of this life, including what we're going to talk about right now is the porn itself. Like, this porn industry becomes really big since it's fulfilling the basic needs of a lot of people, especially men, like generally especially men that want to have like sexual imaginizing of like they have sexual through the media that can portray all of that imagination in their head. And some of that is becoming some kind of problem when the porn is already right now that my first speaker already said that this making more like men-centric rather than the woman-centric itself. It's creating a portrayal of pictures of porn that make a satisfaction to the man itself. And sometimes woman is like already been talking since the first opening debate of today's debate that women's already being more submissive than dominating the role of the porn itself. Like, this is what we want to like concern about, right? Like, we already know that we want to like highly encourage this movement of like this kind of infestation of woman-centric porn to become more improved, like become more higher in the porn industry itself, because we know that women the normal porn that we watch these days, like basically making women's like subject of interest itself, like they become submissive, not dominating, and that is what we really want to always to highly concerned about, and that's why we want to like change a little bit, like to improve, like to be more woman interest as well, like creating like equality between those men and women perspective, equality in equal itself since the first time. And that's why we want to like highly more like invested in this kind of woman-centric porn to create like a bigger satisfaction not only to men but only to women itself. Like that's why my first speaker already said that if you like allowing this kind of movement to be work like this as a liberal feminist itself, will we create a lot of impact that will give a beneficial to the woman itself, and not also to women but also to men, because the woman-centric itself, like it's creating like a more dominant role of a woman itself in the porn, and that is creating also creating a like imagination of portrayal of a porn itself, when the woman becomes someone that dominates than the submissive one, and it's a create like imagination not only to men but only to women, like that this kind of porn that usually being shown, this will be portrayal is like men like always controlling the woman itself, like to have the satisfaction, getting the climax itself, but sometimes not really showing the. Yes, please.
Woman as a woman-centric porn, as if and Mia Khalifa that she are a porn star but being pressed. What do you think about that?
Sorry. Can you repeat it one more once again? I kind of lost.
Mia Khalifa is being pressed because she is a female porn star. What do you think about that?
But I think that is impact when this kind of woman-centric porn is not like implemented really well, only showing that this woman in work that porn industry, we're showing that have a beautiful or have like sexy, like having a perfect body of becoming a porn star. And sometimes when it's back on the stage, back on the real situation of the porn itself, the video is the Mia Khalifa itself is becoming someone that submissive itself, and this is what we really want to like concern about, like Mia Khalifa not only becoming that like maybe like the main highlight of the porn itself, like showing the interest of the porn, like showing the good girl and like the perfect girl, perfect body girl to becoming the picture of the porn, but only the video itself can showing that Mia Khalifa can only be dominant as well to the porn itself. And that's why I want to like this woman-centric woman to be like invested more to create like a great portrayal, great imagination to the woman itself. Like they can imagine the high imagination of themselves to have the sexual excitement from themselves, as a woman, not always like feeling that always be controlled, always being pressure, always being like submissive, but all want to be dominated. This is really what we want to bring in the first time of the opening. Also, we want to like concern about and more like explain about this from the closing government. So that the porn itself first being created like the porn, the causing of a porn being created, also like having like the sexual excitement, right? Having the social imagination of portrayal. But like we see like this industrial porn that in Japan, like job industries, or maybe like a European industry, we can take those examples as well. It's showing that to create like picturized or portrayal of a man that consuming the woman. That's why we want to change, or not only change, but like improving that women have those kind of right as well, to have like those gender equality, to back again that not only men to dominate, but two women to dominate as well. And that's why we're really proud to propose these motions. Thank you.
Thank you, Government Whip, for that speech. To close the debate, I invite Opposition Whip. Here.
Hello, thank you for the time. I'm gonna set up my timer first. For gender pronouns, it's he, him, and if you want to POI me, just use Mike, I guess. Right? Please, but please be considerate, of course. Don't just spam it. If I say no, then no. Okay. I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, and 1. So, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest question still stands and is, why is porn a more important agenda than doing campaigns for females all around the world about their problems, maybe about education, about emancipation, and so on and so forth? Because we can achieve everything, literally everything that the government side wants with through campaigns, and we could save a lot more money from it, meaning that we can do more good and actually do our job. That's the biggest question that government hasn't really answered. Now, moving on to the rebuttals from the opening government. They said that they want to make female porn because females want to watch porn. Is that really urgent? Liberal feminist movements caters to a lot of things, but primarily emancipation between men and women. Porn requires the internet, while the majority of the world has not been impacted or touched by the internet, right? It means that the majority of the world, and to some aspect, the majority of women, are not going to be able to benefit from a lot more porn that you guys try to fight for, right? Secondly, it's the job of liberal feminists to normalize watching porn. We say that even without investing heavily on porn, we could still achieve this. Investing in a $35 billion market means that we have to churn out a lot of money to be a big enough player to force the market to change. We instead could just let the market evolve. Porn is an industry. It follows the demand of the market. If the problem of not having enough female porn is a real thing, then the industry will churn out more female-centric porn without us even using up massive amount of capital for porn. Then we wouldn't have to we wouldn't have less capitals to fight for other things like female education all around the world and much more important things, right? Moving to CG, they want to make women, they say that women seem lower because of man-centric porn, right? We say that it's more about sexual desires or fetishes, right? For example, like being dominated. By saying that these kinds of videos are bad, is the same prejudice that you guys want to fight against. We say that let female watch whatever they want. You said that women also watch porn, right? It means that if women actually want female-centric porn, then porn sites will already churn those contents because they'll want to chase where the demand of the consumers are. So by looking at the status quo, it's clear that the demand for female-centric porn isn't much to the point where this industry changes to cater towards it, right? As such, if we were to burn our money to make female-centric porn, then we are not actually catering to a lot of women, right? Even if you want to prevent women from seeing like lesser beings or submissive beings, we say that it's a lot better to campaign to fight for that, right? Because when you watch porn, you actually think people think about what does this porn video means, or what is the hidden meaning behind this video that you want that the female wants to give to the watchers, right? People watch porn because they want to bust a nut. If porn is a good way to educate people about problems, then education should be done through porn. It proves, if this proves something, it proves that we cannot change people. We cannot change perspective of the people through porn, right? Now, moving on to the clashes. Basically, the clashes is about why is porn better, or why should we fight for porn against other urgencies that we have as feminist movements, right? Basically, they are trying to fight for man and women's emancipation through porn, right? By forcing the market to change by using money, and a lot of money, I should add. The thing is, we could actually do other things. We could actually focus on other urgencies that we need to do, and also caters to whatever government wants, which is to have emancipation against men and women through, I guess, porn, right? So how can we do this? We can do this by actually doing campaigns, talking to the public, because then the information is going to be clear. It's not through some video about, two people fucking. It's going to be clear. Hey, this is what we want. We female want to be treated as the same as men. It's going to be a lot more clearer, and it's going to be a lot easier for others to digest the thing that we want to give out, the thing we want to educate to, right? Now, moving to the conclusions, how can we weigh the debate? First of all, let's talk about breadth. Like, how many people can we save if we were to focus more on other urgent agendas? We would do more campaigns on female emancipation, on or do campaigns against underage forced marrying, and etc. Compare that to how many people will be quote unquote saved if we were to focus on more on female porn. It's gonna quote unquote save females that is in developed nations because they already have the ability to gain internet, right? So that's not a lot of people that we should really think about. As instead, we should think about people that are actually having problems, right, against men. So talking about depth, we would be able to save more underage kids getting married against their will. We would be able to campaign for emancipation, campaign for female education, and so much more. And at the end of the day, actually save lives, making their lives better, which we say is a lot more important than making someone come. So before I move on, is there any POI? Okay, I guess no. Moving to likelihood, how likely is our case to come into to come through, right? We said that it's a lot, but the likelihood is a lot higher because at the end of the day, porn is already an industry. As such, they will if there is already like a demand for porn or female porn, then it's actually gonna come in. There's already gonna be a change for that. We don't need to fight for that. We don't need to churn out a lot of money for that, and we can actually focus more on other things. So the likelihood is gonna stand on our side of the house. Now, moving on to worst case and best case. Our worst case is that we can still focus our energy and capital on other more prominent things like equality, but porn industry will be late at producing the supply of female-centric porn. The government side of the house has the best case of people will get a lot more female-centric porn and at a faster rate, but at the cost of not being able to fight for other things. So if we compare our worst case against the best case of government, it's pretty clear that we win, and as such, I am proud to oppose.
Thank you, Opposition Whip, for that speech. That concludes the debate. Thank you, everyone. You may virtually cross the room and shake hands. For the judges, it's time to deliberate. Please wait while I ask for the ORCON to create